First of all, how about that video? Was that incredible? It's absolutely amazing. To the bishop, to the cardinal, thank you very much. To the Clergy Healthcare and Retirement Fund, to the Boyle family, Commissioner Joe Finn is here, Commissioner Willie Gross here from the Boston Police Department, my friend the Mayor Quincy is here, Mayor Tom Koch, State Representative Mary Keefe is here from Worcester. I'm not sure if any other elected officials are here, but thank you. It's wonderful to join you tonight. Tonight is celebrating how priests of the Archdiocese of Boston build and support stronger communities. And you saw 4 examples of it tonight in the video, and we probably could have put 3,000 videos up there of examples of priests leading the change in our communities. And I want to thank them for that. The other night I was at St. Anne's in Reedville, and they were celebrating the 100th anniversary of St. Anne's, and I was asked to say a few words. And I didn't bring any prepared remarks with me because I didn't think I needed them. And I got up on the stage and I looked out and I saw a lot of people that lived in St. Anne's and Reedville in the past, and I saw some people that still live there. And I looked around and most of the people in the room, I would say, were probably 60 plus years old there. And I told a story of growing up in Dorchester. I told a story of growing up at St. Margaret's Parish. And I told a story of when Father Coyne came to our parish. We had 17 altar boys. I was one of 17. Father Walsh at the time was running the altar boys. Father Dunn was our pastor. And Father Coyne came. And when Father Coyne came, the energy and the life that came with Father Coyne, he had left his first assignment in St. Angela's in Mattapan, and he came to our parish. And within a year of him being there, our altar boy numbers went from 17 to 90. And I thought about the experiences of growing up in St. Margaret's, of being an altar boy and being part of our church, and realizing every single aspect of my life, young life, teenage life, was around the church. Because the first time I went to New York was with the altar boys that we went to New York. The first time I went to Washington, D.C. was with the altar boys. The first time I went to a Celtics game was CYO. The first time I played organized sports was through CYO. Hanging out in the schoolyard and playing street hockey. Being part of the parish shows and learning to get outside of myself and experiencing arts. And understanding the importance of what that did to set me up who I am today. And thinking of all the positive impacts we had. I see Bishop Uglietto here. He was Father Uglietto when he came to St. Margaret's not too far after Father Coyne left, and working with, at the time, Father Uglietto in the CYO, and making sure that that stays moving forward. And I talked about what I think is missing a little bit in the church is that sense of community. And I also told another story that I was I went to a funeral at St. Greg's about 6 months ago. And it was a woman that I met, a senior citizen who I met many years before that. I was a state representative. She lived in Cobden Square, and I went to visit her a bunch of times, and she passed away. And I got a call from her family that the wake was going to be at the church, and the funeral was going to be at the church, and the funeral was going to be at 9 o'clock. So I went to St. Greg's, like a good Catholic, at 5 minutes to 9. And I didn't realize when I walked in that it actually was the wake. There was a wake, and the mass was at 10. So I went up and said a few prayers, and there wasn't many people in the church for Pearline Bennett, her name was. And I sat in the pew, and I was waiting for Mass to start. And I was looking around the church, and I looked at the statues on the altar, and I realized when I was looking at the statues on the altar, the church seemed sad. And I thought to myself, anytime that we need the church, it's there for us. But when the church needs us, we're not always there for it. And it's important for all of us. I want to thank all of you here tonight for supporting the priests and their retirement. But it's important for all of us to spread the word. It's our obligation to go out and spread the word about supporting our church. Because our church needs us right now. The priest of St. Margaret's taught me empathy, compassion, forgiveness, the power of prayer and hope. I didn't always understand at the time, but as I got older and realized that where I learned it in the church. I learned about the importance of a community in the church. I learned about the love of a community during my journey in life. First, my journey with cancer as a 7-year-old boy, where the church literally prayed me back to health, and the impact that people had in my life personally. And understanding and reconnecting back to my spiritual faith when I was in a detox, and realizing when I went down and prayed for that first night, it was the first time I had a conversation with God. I learned it and was taught it and understood it by watching the example that was laid in front of me by my church, by the priests in my church. And I have to give a shout out to the Sisters of Charity of Halifax as well. As mayor, I see the work firsthand. And I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to give a couple shout-outs tonight. Because I see the work what Father Joe White's doing. I see the work that Father Curry's doing. I see the work that Father Conley's doing. I see the work that Father Uni's doing. I see the work that Father Jack Ahern's doing. I see the work that Father Doc Conley's doing by walking the streets at night without anybody with him, reaching out to people. I see it in the works of Father Mahoney. And I see it in the works of a lot of other people that do it every single day. I want to thank them. I want to thank all of the priests, because they're not looking for accolades. They're not looking for a pat in the back. They're not looking for attention. They want to be there for people. Their presence is a source of comfort during good times and bad times. That video of Eddie Walsh and Michael Kennedy, I was there that day with Joe Finn. It was right in the beginning of my time as mayor of the city. I was standing in front of that building as Joe Finn was coordinating what was going on there. As Eddie Walsh was still inside the building, and I watched Joe Finn trying to keep the young firefighters back who wanted to go. Patrick Callahan was there. I got a text from Laurie to tell me, do you see Patrick Callahan? I was panicked because I knew Patrick when he played Little League. I couldn't find him. I couldn't see him. And Father Uni showed up. He just showed up. And he stood in the front. And afterwards he went to the firehouse. And I wasn't there, but I know the comfort that he was there to reach out to the men and women of that fire station who just lost 2 people. He was there. The priests were there for them. I watch our clergy looking out for our neighbors. I watch our clergy looking out for the addicted. I watch our clergy helping the homeless. I watch our clergy helping families that are struggling. I watch our clergy stand with and support the immigrants who face uncertainty. And I want to thank the Cardinal for standing with the immigrant community. Because every single one of us in this hall tonight, maybe 1 or 2 didn't, none, we're just a plane ride or a boat ride from being an immigrant ourselves. And I watched our church stand within the immigrant community. You heard the priest from St. Ambrose talk about St. Ambrose. Today, if you walk in that hall, the immigrants are Vietnamese. If you back up 60 years, the immigrants in that hall were Irish. And you think about who was always there, constant in immigrant community, the church. I want to just end by thanking every single person who's here tonight. I want to thank you for your support for our priests. Over the last 2 decades, our church has gone through a lot. The priests that serve us today went through that as much as, if not more than everybody. But as I said to you a little earlier, when we need the priests, we just pick up the phone and they're there for us. We need to make sure that when our clergy needs us, that they don't have to pick up the phone and we're there for them. Thank you and God bless.